Yes. So the 1031 exchange is basically a specific to real estate, a tax deferred exchange where you're able to sell property and then roll over the gains from that property into a new investment completely tax deferred. So you're able to defer the capital gains tax and you're also able to defer the depreciation recapture. So you're able to capitalize on depreciation and kick that can down the road. So you can really help offset any current tax liability as well as defer future capital gains and recapture liability. And if you're able to do this successfully year after year, decade after decade, you're able to essentially compound your returns on a pre-tax basis rather than post-tax basis.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone that I'm looking forward to chatting with, Rob Beardsley, who has been making serious moves in his company, LSCRE, helping raise capital and supporting investors. So excited to have you on the show today, Rob.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that our listeners are really going to get something out of how you're approaching your operations with your multifamily acquisitions. So lots to discuss here. Let's dive in. First off, for those not yet familiar with you and your world, can you share what your main focus is?
Yeah, sure. So LSCRE was founded by myself in 2018, and we're a multifamily owner operator focused on Texas workforce housing. We've acquired about 25, 26 communities throughout the great state of Texas, and we currently own and manage 5,500 units.
Amazing. That's exciting. What made you decide on Texas as your market?
Yeah, that's a great question. And looking at different markets around the country is always a fascinating thing because markets have their own unique quirks, and some markets are kind of in a boom phase, some markets are in a bust phase. And so it's always fun to look at different markets. But when starting out, my team and I, we really saw Texas as a very large opportunity that has long-term secular growth behind it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and it's pretty well recorded. A lot of our investors, obviously, who invest with us know and love the trends behind Texas, but those are definitely the landlord friendliness of the state. You've got tremendous population growth and migration throughout the country that is headed towards more affordable cities and states like Texas. Weather's better, and the business climate is also generally better in the Sunbelt states and cities like in Texas. And also another big thing that's important is the affordability component. So, our economies across the country have been changing, and unfortunately, the country has gotten more unaffordable. It's more and more popular for people to want to live in places like Houston, which, although it's one of the largest cities in the country, which offers some of the most employment opportunities, it's still at the same time one of the most affordable large metros in this country as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense for why you have chosen that. There's definitely all those benefits there. So you mentioned that your business is fairly new. What made you decide to start your business? And yeah, how has it gone in your process of building it?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, starting a business is always, it's not for everyone and it's a daunting thing, but for some reason, I was just compelled at a young age to want to take that entrepreneurial leap. And I was actually in college studying computer science when I got the bug to focus on real estate, of all things. And so it was actually while still in school, I was talking to brokers, I was analyzing deals, I was studying, I was meeting people. I was really fully engrossing myself in the business until finally we put our first property under contract. And that's the point that I realized that it was time for me to drop out of school and commit full time to building a business. And so fortunately, it's been a great run so far, and I'm looking forward to the next, 10, 20, 50 years of building this business. But it's definitely not a decision that anyone, including myself, should take lightly because it's, as anyone who's an entrepreneur knows, running a business is full of a lot of stress, a lot of responsibility, and you really have to want these sorts of burdens more than just looking to chase something like money or fame or anything like that. It really needs to be something that you are compelled to do, like you wouldn't really be capable of doing anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important to note and to share, but exciting for you that you were able to get it off the ground and make it happen.
Well, so far so good. I'm definitely looking forward to how the next few years progress. And in the real estate industry, ever since the market peaked in 2022, the market has been full of challenges: rising interest rates, rising construction costs, rising payroll, property taxes, insurance, you name it. So it's been a challenging last 3 years. But now I'm starting to see those trends actually unwind and move in the next different direction, where we're seeing rents start to pick up and we're actually seeing insurance prices and property taxes come down. So everything moves in a cycle, and we're now heading into the next phase of the cycle where valuations and performance of our industry is actually on the way up, which is going to be a very exciting time for us to take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important. I know that when we chatted before, you mentioned your focus is on multifamily. Can you explain why that is your particular focus?
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question because I actually don't really think much about it because it's my entire world, right? It's like a
Yeah,
fish. It's like asking a fish about, what are your thoughts about water? It's like, well, I don't know. That's all I swim around. That's all I
true.
know. But the question still stands. And what I would say is it was just an early decision that I made because the asset class resonated with me. And frankly, it resonates with a lot of folks. The demographics and the long-term trends of housing make sense for a lot of investors, including myself, right? We all know that we all need a place to live. Housing is not a voluntary good. And if you study the demographics in this country, you understand that we are, over the long term, massively undersupplied on housing. And there's going to be a perpetual need for housing, which is what's going to cause a secular rise in rents above inflation. And so if you believe in that long-term trend, then it's it's a trend and an investment that you can get yourself behind over the long term. And that's something that is really important to me. I don't like to chase trends or do something for a short-term gain. I'm really passionate and inspired by things that I can commit myself to for the long term, potentially for life.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as your collaboration with investors, what does that look like specifically?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors. and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So we raise capital on a deal-by-deal basis. So basically the way that works is we put a property under contract after, of course, many months of sourcing and due diligence and negotiation and discarding all the deals that don't work. And then once we find the one that we like, we'll put the deal under contract and then share that information with our investors. And then we'll raise the capital in about a month or two and then close with our investors and then typically look to hold that property for about 5 years. And then after we sell the property, we give our investors the option, but not the requirement, to 1031 exchange with us, which in my opinion is the most powerful wealth building tool in real estate. So it's an amazing opportunity for our investors to take advantage of this tool completely passively, because anyone who's done a 1031 exchange knows that those are difficult, risky, very stressful. So to be able to do it passively with us is a huge benefit. So those are the ways that we look to bring investors in and add value to them. And we are typically raising about a total of $15 to $25 million per deal. And at the moment, our minimum investment is actually only $50,000, which I'm actually looking to raise that soon.
Amazing. Can you expand on why that 1031 exchange, like why working with that specifically with you guys and passively is, so beneficial?
Yes. So the 1031 exchange is basically a specific to real estate, a tax deferred exchange where you're able to sell property and then roll over the gains from that property into a new investment completely tax deferred. So you're able to defer the capital gains tax and you're also able to defer the depreciation recapture. So you're able to capitalize on depreciation and kick that can down the road. So you can really help offset any current tax liability as well as defer future capital gains and recapture liability. And if you're able to do this successfully year after year, decade after decade, you're able to essentially compound your returns on a pre-tax basis rather than post-tax basis. And so, we have an analysis that we share with our investors that basically over a 30-year period, if you invest $100,000, if you sell and pay the tax every time, you'll end up with something like, $2 million. But if you do a 1031 exchange every time, you'll end up with $3 million. So you can see how over time, the tax savings compounds over itself, and you're able to actually end up with a whole lot more at the end, which at the end of the day, that's what we're in the game for. We're not in it for pre-tax returns. We're in it for what we end up keeping at the end.
Yeah, definitely. That is super helpful for investors. Awesome. What are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next?
Yeah, it's always fun to think about the next step and where we're headed. For us, we're currently, I would say, kind of in this middle phase where we are approaching $1 billion in assets under management. So we're getting to an institutional size, which is allowing us to really add robustness to our company in terms of HR, in terms of accounting, in terms of asset management, in terms of construction. And these are all critical functions to the business. And as we grow, we're able to have more scale in these departments. So that's very exciting. And I'm looking forward to that allowing us to take ourselves to the next level, which in my opinion would be essentially hitting somewhere around 10,000 units and hopefully scaling to additional markets. So we're able to offer investors enhanced diversification, because although investors may love investing with us over and over again, they may get tapped out if we're only offering them opportunities to partner with us in Houston or Dallas and not other markets that have some sort of different dynamics, like maybe a Denver or a Phoenix or a Salt Lake City.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like some exciting roads ahead for you.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be worth it, because I look forward to one day myself being the largest investor in all of our portfolio. And so, of course, I'm going to be looking out for my own capital just in the same way as if, investors' capital as if it's my own capital as well.
Yeah, amazing. When it comes to collaborating and meeting these investors, is there a certain networking or marketing strategy that allows you to connect with these people?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, it's interesting because investors, I think that there's definitely ways that you can go out and find investors, but it's really just not my personality and it's not my style. So I love to do things that bring investors to us. And so the ways that we've accomplished that over the years is we've published a couple bestsellers in the commercial real estate industry. And so a lot of people will read our books and then they'll be interested in learning more about investing with us after reading those books. Other things that we do is we host bus tours. So we invite investors to come to our market and we'll take them on a bus tour and go tour a couple of our properties and see our properties in action. I think that's very powerful. And other things that we do is just we stay very active on social media. The world has moved online. And so I used to be camera shy, but just through the brute force of repetition, now I'm comfortable on podcasts and shooting video and so on and so forth, which it's really amazing because you think, is this really going to make a difference? Is anyone going to even watch this? But then time and time again, investors will reach out to us and say, hey, I love your podcast, or I saw you here and I would love to learn more about working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much power in the presence of social media and getting yourself out there on, all of those networks. So that's exciting.
Definitely.
Can you share more about the book? What is it called? What's it about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first book we published was in 2020, and that book is called The Definitive Guide to Underwriting Multifamily Acquisitions. And that's quite a mouthful, but basically it's a book on how to analyze potential multifamily acquisitions. And in our business, we call that underwriting. And that book was just a very straightforward how-to guide with no fluffs, no selling, no BS. And I think people really, really liked that approach because I think they were tired of reading books that were kind of like flashy and had a lot of fluff involved. And so I have the book right here. You can see this book is very thin, right? So it's only about 100 pages. So people come up to me all the time and they say, oh yeah, I read your book on a 2-hour flight and it was just amazing. And I have all these notes and these takeaways. So it's super cool because I think it accomplished a couple things. One, it really served a niche in the market that didn't exist before because nobody really had this sort of information put out there into the world in such a digestible format. Other like family coaches or gurus, they might host a weekend boot camp on how to analyze property, but they're charging thousands of dollars for this weekend boot camp. Or you might find a stuffy old textbook that it's way too technical and kind of out of touch. So this really served a niche in the market that was desirous of it. And the other thing that the book accomplished, like I mentioned before, is it gave people an insight into our exact strategy and thought process behind acquiring properties. So it let investors know how we do due diligence and how thoughtful and careful we are when it comes to making investments, and which is why it attracts them to learn more about investing with us.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. I know it's quite rare to find all the information in a book. Usually people are trying to sell their course through the book or something. So that's awesome. Yeah, hopefully the audience can get your book and learn it more if they're curious.
Yeah, well, we're always open to that. People can go ahead and visit our website, LSCRE.com, and they can find the books available as well as some free downloads as well.
Awesome. Is education like one of the big center points of what you guys are offering for your clients?
I wouldn't say so exactly. I would say education is somewhat of a byproduct of my personal passion. I've always been a teacher or coach in some form or another, whether it was piano lessons or playing football, or even being a math tutor. So I think it's kind of evolved out of that. But also from a more self-serving way, I've realized that giving back and teaching and being transparent is the number one way to sell ourselves and attract like-minded people to us.
Yeah, I would agree. It definitely shows people what you know and gives them an entry point into your world.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So why would Like, what is like the main reason an investor would want to work with your company versus just going out on their own?
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting question. I would say that that's a really tough question because if someone wants to go out on their own, there's almost nothing you can really say to convince them otherwise. But the barriers to going out on your own, if you will, are typically quite high. And even if the person can overcome those barriers, which I can mention in a second, it may not be in their best interest. And so, to paint that picture more clearly, obviously the barriers to entry might be the check size. If someone's desirous of investing in multifamily of some sort of scale, they're going to need to have to buy the property, they're going to need to bring something, anywhere from 1 to 5 to $10 million of equity. And obviously that could be impossible or perhaps not wise for many people. The other angle of it is if someone is a high net worth individual and they are a successful entrepreneur, business owner, doctor, lawyer, something of that sort, that's their specialty. And that's how they generate the most value. And if they're to then take their time away from that specialty and value to go and buy their own rental property and manage that property and be a landlord, they're kind of taking a step down in their potential. So it's just really a math equation, and they need to value their time and they need to value what their capabilities are in their main field. And they need to assess whether it makes sense to take their eye off the ball and kind of pick up essentially a side hustle. Because sometimes for those high net worth individuals who are very successful, it may be better for them to stay passive and partner with a trusted expert like us so that they can stay focused on their main craft where they can create the most value, and then they can passively invest in real estate to compound their wealth on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. It definitely creates a lot more ease for someone that, might have other priorities.
I mean, the hard thing about real estate is it sounds so simple and people think, oh, well, I'll just buy a property and then I'll just manage it. But unfortunately, while real estate is simple, it's very far from easy. Everything
Yeah.
is just tough. There's tenants, toilets, and termites and contracts and expertise. So it is a lot harder than it looks. So I think people think that they can manage a property on their own and they think they're saving money in some way, but in the end, it could actually cost them.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So before we wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you?
Yeah, people can learn more about us at LSCRE.com. On our website, you can learn more about our books. You can learn more about getting in touch to learn more about investment opportunities. I'm also very active on Instagram, LinkedIn, and more. So I would look forward to connecting people on social media as well.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And for those tuning into the show, if you got value, make sure that you've subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Rob who are building real businesses. And we'll see you on our next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.